All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Late to the Party News. I think it has been at least 3 weeks since I've done a Monday stream. It's been a busy month. Had family in town. I was out of town. Lots of gigs, lots of stuff going on weekends. Before I know it, it's Monday and I have nothing prepared. But we're back. I've been wanting to talk about this for a couple weeks. As the name suggests, I'm always really late, but we're still going to talk about it. It's going to be fun. But we're going to talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees of 2025. But joining us tonight, and we've got for the first time ever, after much bothering and annoying and asking her to come on, we have got LadyMarine. Other way, there we go. Sometimes it's opposite, sometimes it actually works out. We have LadyMarine joining us for the first time in the stream. She's usually in the chat, stirring the pot, giving us a hard time, but now you get to do it in real time, and I'm here for it.
Yep.
So, how are you doing? How was your weekend? How was your Monday? You said it wasn't that bad of a work day, so you made it through Monday. Here we are.
Yeah, I didn't have a case of the Mondays today. It was actually pretty docile, so it makes me worried for tomorrow, but I'll let tomorrow Stephanie deal with that.
There's only 4 days left.
That's right. Yeah.
And back with us, we have Pink Pam 86 joining us. How are you doing on this Monday evening?
I'm doing good. Doing really good. Thank you for inviting me back. So I always love talking about music, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I always feel like whenever we have a topic that's going to be just music and it's not going to be us just sitting here complaining about this and that and everything under the sun. If it's just music, figure it's a good time to bring you on. It's always good to have you on. So yeah, thanks for being here. Mm-hmm. And then of course, Blair to Blair, our favorite wizard from the Midwest. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Yes, this should be interesting. Now we can all complain about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously I have a lot of opinions and a lot of thoughts already. The Rock Hall of Fame is one of those things where I firmly believe they need to change the name of the museum. That's something that we'll kind of dig into a little bit later. But has anyone else here actually been to the museum? Okay, you've been.
Yes.
When? Like how long ago? Like how old would you say you were when you went?
A while. I think I was in middle school. I lived in Ohio for a few years, so by the Cleveland area. So it's in Cleveland. So of course we had to visit there. Nice. It was cool. It was nice, but yeah, I was like probably in like 6th grade when I went. So
I think that was probably about the same for me. My dad grew up in a town just outside of Cleveland, Amherst, Ohio. It's a very small little town. And so probably about that same age, I was like junior high. I went out there with my dad and we stayed with an aunt and uncle and kind of spent some time. And we took a day trip over to Cleveland. And yeah, it's one of those things where like I can say I've been there, but I feel like I was a little bit too young to like appreciate it and to like really, understand what I was seeing. But yeah, at least I can still say I was there. I do clearly remember though, like I was probably like 12, 13 years old, whatever. Even back then, I remember walking by the exhibit for Michael Jackson and seeing like his sequin jumpsuit and everything and being like, don't they call him the king of pop? Like, what's he doing in the rock and roll? But don't get me wrong. He had his mark on the music industry. I'm not trying to like discredit Michael Jackson, but I remember even at that age being like, this is the Rock Hall of Fame, but the king of pop. All right, but we'll get into that. But yeah, actually, let's see real quick, just because I'm still kind of curious to see how this is going to go. The goal was like we each kind of pick our 5 out of the list. Like, who do you think should get in? We'll discuss. I still like, should we each go like one at a time or each one list their 5? Because we might kind of start repeating each other a little bit. Yeah. Still trying to figure out what to do. But real quick topic, we're not going to spend too much time on it, but I feel like it's at least worth mentioning. There was a loss in the music industry this past week, which is David Johansen, a.k.a. Buster Poindexter, also actor who was in one of my absolute favorite Christmas movies, Scrooged, when he's the ghost of Christmas Past, the cab driver, whatever. I feel like he only just very, very, very recently even revealed that he had cancer, but it was stage 4 cancer. Maybe he'd already been battling with it for a long time, but he had sadly passed away at the age of 75. New York Dolls frontman, punk pioneer, Buster Poindexter, actor, all of that. So, yeah, just read about that over the weekend. I think this article was posted March 1st. Just wanted to kind of touch on that real quick. I am honestly not terribly familiar with his music. I mean, maybe not so much the New York Dolls. I've heard like the one song, the Hot, Hot, Hot by Buster Poindexter. But as an actor, like he's a very recognizable face, a very recognizable voice. And yeah, like I said, I watch Scrooge every Christmas. It's one of my favorites. It's always a good one. So, rest in peace to David Johansen there. So, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the criteria to be nominated. I have this pulled up. This is another article from like a couple years ago. This is talking like 2022. But just real quick before we even read through the list, the nomination process considers artists whose first commercial recording was released a minimum of 25 years before the year of their nomination. So that means for those of you who are bad at math, I'm one of them, even though I work in a machine shop. Bands who put out their first commercially successful album in the year 2000, when I was in high school, could be nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And that just feels really, really weird.
Makes you feel old.
A little bit, yeah, which I'm sure Blair and Steph are going to give me a hard time for saying that I feel old, but you know what? It still makes me feel old. But I guess real quick, before we dive into this, I want to go through the chat real quick. We've got BDC's Sanctuary, who I don't think I've seen you in here before. Welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
That's one of my friends.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here as well. Jacob Ironside, always good to see you, brother. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. We have A2D2. How are you? Thank you for being here as well. And Max Webster, hello to you. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm hoping this is going to be a good discussion. So let's real quick go through the list of nominees, and then yeah, I think maybe we'll go around. We'll just have like go around and have each person kind of list their 5, and then we'll argue.
So how many can get in of these nominees?
I think it's 5. So that's why I said like everyone kind of pick their 5, because I think out of the list, like and if I'm not mistaken, I think voting is very public. Like anyone can go on the website, and vote. So that's why it's like pick your 5 if you choose to go and publicly vote, or if you just want to come on here and complain, you know, we're here for it, whatever. But yeah, it's very much a vote of the people, and that's why I think maybe sometimes people get in that shouldn't be, but that's neither here nor there. But we have got Bad Company, formed in 1973. Essential albums were Bad Company, Straight Shooter, Desolation Angels. Essential songs: Feel Like Making Love, Bad Company, Shooting Star, Can't Get Enough, Rock and Roll Fantasy. The Black Crowes. I'm going to be honest, I did not realize the Black Crowes had formed this long ago. 1984.
Yeah, 84. Wow.
Yeah, I did not realize that. I mean, I thought they were maybe kind of like a 90s band at best.
Is there two? Is it so? I'm thinking of the Black Crowes from the 90s.
No, that's Counting
Crows.
Counting Crows. Okay, thank God. Yeah. Okay.
Come on, old man.
I used to get the two mixed up a lot, but guilty pleasure, I actually really love the Counting Crows. So like once I listen to more of their music, it gets pretty easy to distinguish the two. So Black Crowes formed in 1984. Essential albums: Shake Your Money Maker, The Southern Harmony and Musical Companion, and Happiness Bastards. Essential songs are Hard to Handle, which is probably their most famous hit. She Talks to Angels. Actually, I don't know. Maybe that one's more famous. Remedy, Twice as Hard, and Jealous Again. This one, I don't want to reveal my list too soon, but I already have issues here.
I think we all do.
I think we all do.
All right. Year started 1988. Essential albums: Music Box, Mariah Carey, and Daydream. Essential songs. Do I really have to say it? I really have to say,
Yes.
Essential Songs, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Anyone who has ever worked in retail, it's like, oh my God, that song. We Belong Together, Obsessed, Fantasy, and Always Be My Baby. Mariah Carey. Chubby Checker. You know, I had mixed feelings about this one at first, and his songs get a little repetitive, but it was the 50s, and you had to capitalize on whatever dance craze was out at the time. But year started 1958. Essential albums: Twist with Chubby Checker, 4 twisters only, and Let's Twist Again. I'm seeing a repeating pattern here. Essential songs: The Twist, Let's Twist Again, Limbo Rock, Dancing Party, and The Hucklebuck. So really into the twist. And I don't know if they could have found a less flattering picture.
I know, right?
Poor Joe.
Year started 1961. Essential albums: Joe Cocker, I Can Stand a Little Rain, With a Little Help from My Friends. Essential songs: You Are So Beautiful, Up Where We Belong, With a Little Help from My Friends, Feeling All Right, and You Can Leave Your Hat On. Yeah, I feel bad for the, like, is he still alive? Is that just the best picture they could come up with? They couldn't use something from his younger years. Billy Idol. Year started 1981 as a solo artist after leaving Generation X. Essential albums: Rebel Yell, Whiplash Smile, and Billy Idol. Essential songs: Rebel Yell, Eye Without a Face, White Wedding, Dancing with Myself, and Money Monet. Cyndi Lauper. I feel like this might be a little bit of a controversial pick on the list. We'll see once we go to each individual and what their picks are. Year started 1983 after leaving Blue Angel for a solo career. Essential albums: She's So Unusual, True Colors, A Night to Remember. Essential songs: Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Time After Time, True Colors, All Through the Night, and I Drove All Night. So Steph and I were just talking backstage. I've never heard of Mana.
Me either.
I probably can't pronounce any of these albums or song titles. Yes, I live 20 minutes away from the southern border and I don't speak Spanish. Sorry. Year formed 1981. Lots of words that I probably can't pronounce. But anyone else heard of them?
I didn't. I looked them up because I'd never heard of them before. But apparently, if they do get in, they would be the first band that has only music in Spanish to actually get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I thought that was interesting. But
all right,
yeah.
That's fair. But it's like I like to think I'm pretty well rounded, where I've at least heard of most acts, but this one I'm like, I've never even heard of them, so I don't know. I know some years ago there was some German precursor to the EDM movement band called Kraftwerk that was nominated. So I'm never heard of them. Maybe other people have. I don't know.
I know, but they're not rock.
Still not rock. No.
It's like Tangerine Dream and old school electronic stuff.
This one I thought was kind of funny. This article coming to us from Loudwire, there's a typo. This says Joe Division. So again, also talking backstage with Steph, I'll be the first one to fully just say the 80, a lot of stuff from the 80s is really not on my radar, really not in my wheelhouse, because just the age of my parents and what music they were into when I was coming up, and then just my own age of what I came into and what I liked as I started coming up. So a lot of stuff like Cure, Depeche Mode, Joy Division, all this kind of a lot of this era is kind of lost on me. So I know that they are a big deal in their own right, but I don't know. The other than Blue Monday, couldn't name a song. So
they're great.
I don't know. You can nail me to the wall. I don't know, but so it's like Joy Division / New Order. So they're still kind of like two different bands. Joy Division in 1976, New Order in 1980 after Ian Curtis's death. Essential albums: Substance, Low Life, Brotherhood, and Republic. Essential songs: Love Will Tear Us Apart, Transmission, Blue Monday, Bizarre Love Triangle, True Faith, and Regret. And Oasis. This is kind of from the era of my childhood. Not that I'm like a huge fan or absolutely love their music. I for like my whole like music gig thing I do on the weekends. Like, yes, I do have Wonderwall in my set tucked away somewhere if someone requests it, but I don't play it because more often than not, the staff at the places that I play at are like, I hate that song and I hate it when people play it. So I try to avoid it unless someone specifically requests it, but here they are. And I don't know if they could look more pissed off at each other in this photo, but as we know, these brothers have famously feuded and hated each other for many, many years, to which they only just recently got back together because they probably needed the money. But formed in 1991, essential albums, Definitely Maybe, What's the Story, Morning Glory, and Standing on the Shoulder of Giants. Essential songs, Wonderwall, Don't Look Back in Anger, Champagne Supernova, as they pronounce it, Stop Crying Your Heart Out, and Live Forever. Next on the list is Outkast. Didn't realize they formed in 1992, so that was news to me.
Yeah.
Essential album, Speaker Box, The Love Below, Stankonia, and ATLians. I don't know, the way it's stylized, I'm not really sure how that's supposed to be pronounced. Capital ATL Aliens. Essential songs, Hey Ya, Miss Jackson, Roses, So Fresh, So Clean, and The Way You Move. Now we've got the jam band Fish. I think Dave Matthews Band was inducted last year, so now we're bringing in jam bands. Formed in 1983, essential albums, either Junta or Hunta. I don't know. Again, not sure what. Junta. Oh. Billy Breathes and Rift. Essential songs, Farmhouse, Sample in a Jar, Waste, Heavy Things, Bouncing Around the Room. Soundgarden. Formed in 1984. Essential album, Super Unknown, Bad Motorfinger, Down on the Upside. Essential songs, Black Hole Sun, Spoonman, Fell on Black Days, Outshined, and Rusty Cage. And then last on the list, I know I'm talking a lot. We're gonna get the panel going here after this. I'll stop talking after this one. The White Stripes. Also did not realize they formed as early as 1997, but here we are. Essential albums, Elephant, White Blood Cells, Get Behind Me, Satan. Essential songs, Seven Nation Army. And I swear if I hear that song one more time, I've heard that one enough for a lifetime. Fell in Love with a Girl, Icky Thump, We're Gonna Be Friends, and Blue Orchid. So there you have it. Those are the nominees. That's the information. Let me try to catch up on the chat real quick before we move forward. Can hear the hard to handle opening guitar riff. That is I would say that's a pretty iconic opening guitar riff. Definitely. Term rock has been spread too thin. Yeah, when they started inducting people like LL Cool J and NWA and Cher, and I'm sure we could have a whole discussion all night about what they should change the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, they could just call it the Music Hall of Fame. So like some of these people, it's like I'm not doubting or denying a lot of these people's impact on the music world, but it's like
pop music.
Stop calling it rock and roll. Like listen to my parents' generation of music, 70s, 60s. There's good rock in the 80s. Yeah, so Jacob, I think that's kind of me too. My parents was more like 60s and 70s stuff, and I just sort of skipped the 80s, except for maybe like Metallica and a few other exceptions. But yeah. So I think we'll basically just kind of maybe give our 5, and then as each one is giving their 5, we can tell them that they're right or wrong and argue and whatever. But first time new guest, LadyMarine, let's start it off with you. What do you got for your 5 picks that you think should be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year?
My 5 was Bad Company, the Black Crowes, Joe Cocker, Soundgarden, and I struggled with the 5th one, but I went with Joy Division.
Okay.
Because I'm more familiar with their songs and their genre versus like Fish, or I refuse to go with Oasis. But I was also fighting with myself about Billy Idol because he's on the list and he's pretty rock and roll too. But Again, I just went with Joy Division instead. For my
So
fifth.
that was your fifth one. Okay.
That was my fifth.
Because I know before we got started, you said you were sort of battling with maybe like Cyndi Lauper, or trying to kind of figure out like what's that fifth one going to be? Like, what do we consider rock? Who do we think should be inducted? And
Cyndi Lauper, I loved her when I was a kid. She was bright and colorful and punk and wanted to go against the grain, and every little girl wanted to be like her because she was just so rowdy and obnoxious. And now that I'm older, it's like, what in the world was I thinking? No, thank you. I learned my lesson.
You like Sheba?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think, again, I talk about kind of like the era of the 80s and stuff. It's like with Cyndi Lauper, like that kind of was one of those ones. It's like, I don't necessarily know if like probably a few people on this list, obviously, that are not rock and roll. There's obviously a few people in the museum that are not considered rock and roll. But as far as Cyndi Lauper, it's like, okay, let's say if she were to get voted in, it's like that wouldn't be a terrible. I'd say it's a lot better than Mariah Carey.
Yes.
But yeah, I think
or Outcast or White
my whole thing here was like pick your five in no particular order, and I'll go last. But like when I picked my list, it was sort of like I started with who do I absolutely think should get in, and then it became a process of elimination of like what's left that doesn't suck. But
well, right off the bat for me with Soundgarden, Chris Cornell started that band, and I love me some Chris Cornell, and it's just he deserves it.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest vocal talents of his generation that was gone far too soon.
Yep.
And yeah, I really hope that those some of those videos and some of the stuff I've talked about on recent live streams about them reuniting with said guest singer, hopefully you're just a one-off, but we'll see. Yeah, Jim Rat 77 think Idol and Cocker should be automatic. Yes. All right.
I know who that is. Hi, Jim Rat.
So, all right, Pam, let's go ahead and shift on over to you. What are your 5 choices here?
I feel like I'm going to cause some controversy here.
That's what we need. We need discussion here.
Oh, man. Okay, so I have it written down on my paper because I'm old. So in no particular order, I did pick as well. I picked Soundgarden as well as on my list. Billy Idol, I did put him on my list. Billy Idol, I think he's definitely iconic. Chubby Checker, I did. He actually still performs to this day. He's 83 years old. Wow. He still performs to this day.
How is he younger than Willie Nelson? Willie Nelson's going to be 92 in a couple weeks.
Insane. Joe Cocker, I did put. And then, so here we go. I did put Mariah Carey.
There's your pot stir. No. There's the pot stir. You thought it was going to be me. It's Pam.
I did. I'm going on talent. I know this is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And, like we mentioned, it's not really that anymore. It's the Music Hall of Fame. So I'm going on talent, even though, believe me, I'm sick of that Christmas song. I can't. But I'm going based off, like, I can think back to when I was in middle school, high school, and every girl wanted to be Mariah Carey. And so, yeah, everyone's not going to like me in chat. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
But it's okay. That's why we're here. We're here to have a discussion about exactly that. As I've been saying multiple times over, I'm going to sound like a broken record about the thing of like, it shouldn't be called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame again, anymore, or whatever. But again, like the people that have gotten in recent years, the people that are nominated every year, maybe not everyone that's nominated every year, but I still don't doubt their impact on the music world. It's just kind of like, should we just change the name of the museum? And I think I actually read, maybe at some point I can try to search and dig this up. But there's something I read a couple months ago about somebody who either sort of like runs or manages the Rock Hall of Fame, talking about how everyone says like, you should just change the name, just change the name of the museum and everything will be fine. And he's like, oh no, like it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because whatever. And I forget what his explanation is, but I'll see if I can pull the article up maybe while Blair's talking. But he sort of like defended his stance of like, no, like we should still call it rock because all these different styles and genres fit into the rock genre. It's like, no, it's like Mariah Carey is still very much pop. Like she's still around. She's still going strong, still doing her thing. So obviously she was not a one-hit wonder. She was no slouch by any means, but it's like rock and roll. Not so much. Lots of people in the Rock Hall of Fame, not rock and roll. I think it was either last year or the year before, I think, when the Dave Matthews Band was inducted. I like the Dave Matthews Band. I'll admit I'm actually a fan, but at the same time, I'm like, they're not rock and roll. So, yeah, no, unpopular opinion maybe from being a fan of Dave Matthews Band. To be fair, I'm choosing Mariah over Oasis. Okay, yeah, you get points for that. You chose Mariah over Oasis. Yeah, Alice in Chains. I agree. I don't think they've been nominated at all yet. But that would be, and I don't know, again, I'll have to maybe look this up, but I feel like another one like big snub that a lot of people say is that I don't think Iron Maiden is in. A lot of people are like, what's up with Iron Maiden? Like, why aren't they in? Like, what? Like,
it's like Motorhead too.
Motorhead, yeah. Oh man. I don't Cocker. I got that already. Yeah. True. She gets in.
Iron Maiden was nominated for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2021 and 2023, but they have not been inducted yet.
So just nominated. Got it. Yeah, I definitely feel like they kind of snub like the metal bands too. Like I don't see Metallica getting in anytime soon. Just I don't like the heavier bands. But speaking of Metallica,
which is crazy because it's called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, but like I was even just reading something the other day about how I guess, because I don't really follow the sport ball much at all, but I guess the Super Bowl this next year is going to be in San Francisco. And every time that happens, people try to start a petition to be like, Metallica needs to play at the Super Bowl. They're from the Bay Area. The Super Bowl is in San Francisco. Metallica, and I'm just like, I don't really feel like they're going to put a metal band on stage at the Super Bowl halftime show. Like, on the flip side of that, when they put all these different like rap and hip hop and everything and stuff, these guys have to like edit and rewrite and censor their lyrics to be able to put on live national television. But metal music is too heavy and too scary to be at the Super Bowl. So
lame.
I don't know. I think they said a rock band has not played the Super Bowl halftime show since The Who, which was sooner than you would think. It was like maybe 15 years ago. It was like the mid to late 2000s at The Who.
Get Guar out there. Come on.
Oh my God.
Get some Slipknot.
Oh, that would be so amazing.
That would be awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think Iowa is going to be hosting the Super Bowl anytime soon. That would be the time to have Slipknot play for that. All right, so we're down to you, Blair. What do you got?
So Bad Company,
okay.
Chubby Checker, Billy Idol, Joy Division, and Soundgarden.
I kind of had a feeling you would throw Joy Division in there.
So White Stripes, I think they should, but it's too soon. Give them a little time.
Get out.
And Cyndi Lauper, no.
Where's the exit button? Kick him out.
No. I'm talking here, lady. This is my time. Outcast, I don't think is rock and roll. Just like Mariah Carey. I don't like Oasis and just fuck Fish. Totally. I don't like them at all. But yeah. But Joe Cocker, I think, should be in at some point too. He's definitely a legend.
Yep.
So
and I still have the question, like, is he still alive? He looks pretty old, and he looks pretty old in this picture.
I thought he passed away because he had like MS or something.
He died in 2014.
Oh wow,
that's what I thought. He died a while back.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. All right. So I guess it comes down to me. First, let's see. I was supposed to be searching this while Blair was talking, and I got distracted. Probably not going to be able to find it, but should change its name. Let's just see what comes up with that.
I agree with Jim Rat. Absolutely.
What do we got here? Jacob said In Living Color. That's a solid choice. They're definitely been around for over 25 years. Wait, Jim Rat. Okay, there we go. Put Soundgarden in, then Cornell again as a solo honor. Yes, but going by the criteria, I don't know if Chris Cornell has put out his first solo album 25 years ago. So that was like the first main thing was your first commercial. So basically like the first major label album release had to have been a minimum of 25 years prior, which I'm not exactly sure when Chris Cornell released a solo album, but 100% Soundgarden. Max Webster, I agree. Pam's been to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Been to the Hall of Fame many times, and they need to rename it if they're honest. Yeah.
Actually, it was September 1st, 1999.
Oh, okay.
He gets in.
Chris Cornell could be nominated because I think like Ozzy is in both with like Black Sabbath and as a solo. I think Stevie Nicks is in both with Fleetwood Mac and as a solo artist, even though I absolutely cannot stand her at all. But that's another unpopular opinion. Faith No More, Stone Temple Pilots. Yeah, okay, that's solid choices.
Yeah.
Let's see. Won't change its name despite multiple stars complaints. Let's see what this says. This might be the article I was reading some months ago. And again, with the ad, I say this every week, but I'm like, man, I need to find a good ad blocker because I had one installed. Every article I'd pull up was like, we don't like your ad blocker. You can't view this website with your ad blocker. And now just ads pop up like crazy. And so why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame won't change its name despite multiple stars complaints. So let's just kind of skip ahead. I guess this is the director of, or whatever his title is. I'm not really sure. Dolly Parton. So this is another one. Like a year or two ago, Dolly Parton was put on the ballot. Yeah. And she actually said, she's like, I'm very flattered, but she's like, please take my name off the ballot. She's like, I'm country, I'm not rock and roll. And they were like, oh, it's too late. The ballots have already been sent out. So, okay. They voted her in, and she said that she would gracefully accept because she's a class act like that. But she was like, no, she's like, I don't feel like I should be on the docket. I'm not rock and roll. But now Dolly Parton's in the Rock Hall of Fame. Then a new interview, Rock Hall of Fame Chairman John Sykes said he understands certain genre-based frustrations with the organization and explained why he wouldn't alter its long-held name. Let's see if I can scroll this down a little bit so it's not taking up so much of my screen. That's better. Now I lost my place because there we go.
Right there, yeah.
I think it's because some people don't understand the meaning of rock and roll, he told the outlet. If you go back to the original sound in the 50s, it was everything. It was a gumbo. It just became known as rock and roll. He continued on saying, when I hear people say you should just change it to the Music Hall of Fame, rock and roll has pretty much covered all of that territory. Rather than throwing the name out, it's doing a better job of communicating to people where rock and roll came from and what it's truly about. Once they hear it that way, they understand. I still disagree, but okay. He then recalled a conversation with great friend Jay-Z, who was inducted in 2021. I was so excited, but he told me rock is dead. It should be called the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. Disagree with that as well, but moving on. Well, hip hop is rock and roll. He goes, no, it isn't. And he said, we've got to do a better job of explaining. Little Richard, Otis Redding, Chuck Berry, these artists were the cornerstones of rock and roll because they were actual rock and roll.
Yes.
If you look at the sounds over the years, those artists ended up influencing hip hop. I don't know if I agree with that, but like Chuck Berry alone, John Lennon has famously been quoted saying, John Lennon said he probably picked up a guitar because of Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry was rock and roll. I mean, like, if there'd been no Chuck Berry, there would have been no John Lennon. If there'd been no John Lennon, we probably would not have had the Beatles. Little Richard, same thing, very much rock and roll. So that's kind of the brief statement from the chairman of the museum of saying why he won't.
I put Chubby Checker in that group too.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like, it was the 50s. Like, that was rock and roll. You know, talking about like people nowadays that go like, oh, like, I don't understand the big hype around the Beatles. Like, what was the big deal? Or I don't understand the big deal about Elvis. What was the big deal? It's like, well, you do at some point have to kind of look at the history of things, of like when Elvis came on the scene, that was new, that was groundbreaking. Like, no one had seen that before. Like, they thought just like him swaying his hips back and forth was so offensive that they had to like pull him off of live TV, and, you know, his music with, you know, whatever. And then the Beatles come out and they go on the Ed Sullivan Show, and it was this big monumental event and stuff. And people now look at like what they consider rock and roll to be now, and they look back on that and like, that's not rock. What was the big deal? What was the big thing? It's like, well, at the time, like, that was new, that was groundbreaking, that was no one had seen that before, no one had heard that before. But I think that did give way into like rock and roll and lead into then bands like Led Zeppelin and bands like The Who, and, you know,
the Stones,
like
and all that.
The Stones, yeah, all of that. And the thing with the Beatles, it's such a, like, it's almost like a tragic story that they stopped touring because when they would play live, the crowd and the girls are screaming so loud that like they couldn't hear each other. The crowd couldn't hear them. They're like banging on the pianos with their elbows, and they're just like, whatever, like, this is stupid. We're going to stop touring. And probably like a year after they broke up, the Rolling Stones kind of revolutionized the whole arena touring thing. Sound systems became more of a, the technology advanced more, where speakers were better, sound systems were better, and Rolling Stones started selling out arenas. And it's like the Beatles like just barely missed that, where they're like, screw this, we're not going to tour anymore because this is dumb. Like, the crowd can't hear us, we can't hear each other. What could have been, you know? But I guess without further ado, without me rambling on further, I'll get to my list, which I don't think is going to be all that controversial either. But first and foremost, absolutely Soundgarden, no question. My whole thing here was like, pick your 5 in no particular order. But as I said earlier, I had to kind of go with like, who are my, like, what's the hill that I'm going to die on, and then kind of what's left over. Soundgarden, absolute number one. I did pick Billy Idol, and again, this is probably gonna be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but it's like, I don't necessarily love his music. I'm not a huge, massive fan, but I do recognize that he is, you know, an iconic name. Like, you hear the name, you see his face, you immediately know like that's Billy Idol. Like, everybody knows like White Wedding, you know, that like he's, you know, an iconic enough name that it's like, I think he's earned it. He's, you know,
yes.
Put Joe Cocker on there, obviously same thing. It's just it's a very recognizable name. It's everybody remembers watching the Wonder Years, you know, in the opening credits, his cover with a little help from my friends, you know.
I love the Wonder Years. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And what's actually really funny is I always talk about how one of the few like classic rock bands that I really did grow up hearing in the house was the Beatles. But as much as I did hear the Beatles growing up from my mom and her being a big fan and stuff, watching the Wonder Years, it wasn't until years probably into my teen or maybe even adult years that I realized that that song was a Beatles song that he was covering, that they used for the credits for that show. So it's like, who knew that I'm sitting here watching this show being like, oh yeah, like my mom's a huge Beatles fan, and like, the song A Little Help from My Friends. And then later in life, I'm like, oh, that was a Beatles song. Who knew? So yeah, Soundgarden, Billy Idol, Joe Cocker, Black Crowes. Again, it's another one. I think Jacob said it in the chat. When you hear like that, as soon as you just even read the song title, Hard to Handle, like you hear that riff in your head. Like, you just, I think Jacob said guitar riff, but it's more, I think it starts on the piano. It's like the piano and the guitar or whatever, but you just hear that opening riff in your head as soon as you read like Hard to Handle, the title. And then last but not least, I did choose Chubby Checker because, as we were saying, it's like that was the early days of like the 50s. Rock and roll was still very much forming what it was going to be. Everything was new, everything was innovative, everything was groundbreaking. And I mean, like the twist. I mean, come on. But I knew, sorry, Pam, I knew there's no way I had to pick Mariah Carey. There's no way.
It's okay.
Cyndi Lauper, like I said, it's sort of a 50-50. I think she's very important. I think she made her mark, but I would put her in the category of pop. Mana,
no
look who
idea.
Showed up. I'm
the chat.
gonna get there. Joy Division, like I said, that's just one that's like that era and that style has just never really been on my radar. Oasis, take them or leave them. I don't hate them, but I'm just kind of like, no, I don't think they're Rock and Roll Hall of Fame material. Outkast, not rock and roll. Fish, couldn't name a song, gun to my head. And
trash.
I absolutely cannot stand the White Stripes. I have hated the White Stripes since the first time I heard their music. I'm just like, oh my goodness, no. And here he is, finally popping in with his Nickelback jokes. What's up, Devin? I don't know. Let's look this up. Has Nickelback been around long enough?
I don't think
I have a feeling I'm probably about to be.
I bet they have.
They probably have, but let's see.
Maybe
they came out in 95.
In what?
95.
They came out in 95.
Wow.
All right, Devin, you win. They could be nominated, but they still shouldn't be inducted.
That's right.
I don't know. I was introduced to their cover of Metallica songs, and man, can they get it?
Oh no!
Are
you stirring the pot, or are you messing with me right now?
No, I'm not.
Oh my God.
No, man. Shit, no, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
Bring on the ass kicking. I was floored. I really was. They did a great job.
I don't know if I can accept that.
Still better.
But hey, there we go. Hey, TV, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Not staying. Just had to spread pro Nickelback. Oh, I wouldn't expect anything less. A2 agrees with us. They sucked back then and they still do today. Oasis has to show up, fight over the trophy, and only the brother who wins gets to go. Well, it'll probably be the brother that's sober, because I forget. Right. I know their names are like Noel and Liam, but I forget who's who. But I know it's like the singer is the one that's like usually not sober, so he'd probably be really easy to beat. Yeah, so going back to Devin's Nickelback jokes, a funny story. If you guys know, a lot of times when I have my gigs on the weekends and I'm, playing cover songs for beer and money and for fun, I was playing at a nearby brewery, and Devin actually tried to look up to see if the business had a phone number to call.
Oh my God.
I remember
have the
that.
bartender to try to have the bartender come over and tell me to play Nickelback, but it turns out that business doesn't have a dedicated phone line. They just have I don't even know if they have a website. I think they just do social media. He's like, I literally was going to try to call the bar and tell the bartender to go and request Nickelback from you.
That's hysterical.
Which I think would have been like the funniest thing to actually happen. And I don't think he's threatened to do it since, which lots of other places I play do have phone numbers. I don't know if I should tell him that.
In mind.
No. He's gonna do it now.
We'll have to
There he
click
is.
that. You'll be in your live stream seeing Nickelback looking miserable as hell. We'll have to click that.
But at this point, I'm gonna not play Nickelback out of spite, but I'll play some Creed.
Creed.
There you go.
Nice.
All right, ladies and gents, heading out. All right, Devin, thanks for popping in, buddy. Always good to see you. But you're still fired for not showing up tonight. But we finally got LadyMarine on.
I don't know if that's much better.
I've been trying to get you on the show for months, and you were being very stubborn about coming on here. So it finally worked.
You can take Roman's spot.
Yeah, you can take Roman's spot. Roman's fired. Are there bands worse than Nickelback? I don't know. Are there bands worse than Nickelback? What do we think?
Yes.
What are our thoughts?
Absolutely.
Your cat's finally tired of not
I
being
know. I'm sorry. She's like, oh, we're streaming. So here, she usually sits on my lap.
Which one is that?
This is Happy.
That's Happy.
This is Happy. She is very happy right now. Purring like crazy. You could probably hear.
What are we
her.
doing? I need to be involved.
Yes, exactly. She's a big Nickelback fan, so there you go.
She's here representing
Nickelback, exactly.
I mean, Devin's from Canada. He lives in Canada, so he has to like Nickelback. It's like a requirement, or I think they like kick you out of Canada. Can you attest to this stuff? Like,
that is false.
No, you didn't get kicked out for not liking Nickelback.
No.
But yeah, I think her Lady Marine's dog was very confused also, and she sat down to do the live stream. It's like, you've already been sitting at your computer all day long. What are you doing? You're supposed to be done with this. So yeah, the animals definitely know.
Yeah, they
Journey.
Journey.
What's that?
Animal sense evil.
Oh yeah, Journey is on the Rock and Roll. They're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay. Again, like, unpopular opinion. Nail me to the wall. Say what you want. I don't love Journey. There was a time, again, also, I think I was probably like junior high age, maybe 12, 13, something like that. Peter Frampton was coming to town, and my mom really, really loved Peter Frampton growing up, wanted to go see him. So we got tickets, and didn't even realize at the time there's some opener that I don't remember the name, don't know who it was. Then Peter Frampton, and then Journey was the headliner. And we walked out while Journey was playing. And yeah, I tell people that story, and people look at me like I have a third eye growing out of my forehead. They're like, you were at a Journey concert, and you were leaving, you were walking out. So my aunt on my mom's side, so my mom's only sister, was living in Missouri, and found out we were going to the show, and she's like, oh my god, I can't believe you're going to see Journey. Like, you have to call me when they're playing and stuff. And back, this is just like flip phones, where it's like if you tried to call someone and hold it up, it probably just sounded like distorted noise and whatever. But yeah. I remember it was like the first song, they started playing their first song, whatever it was. My mom calls my aunt and goes, here you go, and is like holding the phone up like as we're walking out. And I think people are looking at us like we were crazy. And it's like, yeah, we walked out of a Journey concert. Don't Stop Believing is another one of those songs where I'm like, I swear, if I hear that song one more time,
it is overplayed. I get it.
Another musician friend of mine in town here, like, said he learned how to play it, and he's like, dude, you got to do it. People love it. They get into it. And I'm like, who wants to hear Don't Stop Believing on an acoustic guitar? Like, if you're not doing it on a piano, like if it doesn't have that main opening piano riff, like it just doesn't hit the same way. Like, even then, like, I hate the song, but at the same time, I'm like, I have some credibility of like, it's just going to sound weird. It's got to be on a piano. It's got to be that main thing, you know. But I also just hate Journey, so I have a lot of unpopular opinions when it comes to classic bands. But then also, I really love Pink Floyd, which I've come to learn that a lot of people don't. So everyone's got their thing.
What about Boston?
I'm indifferent. If I hear a song from Boston, it's like, okay, like it's cool, but like they don't annoy me, but I'm not like a huge fan, you know. Your cat's kind of stealing the show over here. It's like,
sorry. Yeah. I'm trying to get her to not go by the mic so she don't hear her purring.
Just don't knock anything over on the desk. That's the thing. Like, at least for me, because I don't have any pets or anything, but the way I have everything plugged in on my desk, it's like if I like make contact with my desk a little bit too hard, things disconnect. So I'm just like, I can't imagine what it would be like to have a cat like run, and all of a sudden like the camera disconnects, the microphone disconnects, the stream ends. Like
she likes to step on the keyboard too, so that's what I'm also trying to get her to not do. So sorry.
John had a bad experience. Salmon is a Nickelback apologist. You're a Journey apologist. That's fair. And hey, I'm not here to say that anyone's right or wrong. I'm just gonna have my unpopular opinions of what I like and don't like, and the ones that I absolutely hate, which White Stripes is one of them.
I think the Rock and Roll. I think this whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is kind of like the Oscars now. It's completely irrelevant,
Yeah, I don't really pay much attention to award shows. Although I will say, much to my surprise, Tool has won some Oscars over the years for like best new album and different things like that. So it's like, as much as I'm like, award shows are a joke and they're worthless and whatever, like when a band that I like wins an award, I'm like, okay, like that checks out. But those are the ones that like they don't air. It's like I don't know how long like the whole night is overall, but they only
Grammys.
The Grammys, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Grammys, Oscars, whatever, same thing. But it's like they have like the main events. It's like, oh, here's like, best new country artist, best song, best new album, whatever. But then it'll be like best new metal album. And then like you can maybe find the clip on YouTube, but they're not gonna like air that on like main TV. But yeah, in
best bluegrass
2019, 2020, whatever it was, Tool won like I think like best metal performance for their album Fear Inoculum that came out in 2019. So I'm like, all right, that checks out, but I still think award shows are worthless. So yeah. I don't know, but I think that
don't stop believing.
And now we're transitioning over into the karaoke hour of the show.
Oh gosh, you don't want me singing.
I'm out.
Oh, bring it on. Let's start some karaoke. Let's go.
Nope.
But yeah, so I think that we just about managed to almost clear the hour mark here. So let's go ahead and go around and see what everyone has going on the rest of the week. LadyMarine, I know this is your first time being on the channel, so you're probably not hopping on with anyone else the rest of the week, but I'm still going to ask because it's what we do. What do you have going on the rest of the week?
Working and trying to stay sane.
That is important, and it's also difficult. I'm trying to do the same thing, and it's not going well.
Being bossed around by a senior citizen with 4 legs. Who's currently staring at me, ready for me to get off.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully she's at least already had dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So she's
And
been
snack.
fed. She's just like, come pay attention to me. What are you doing? Like,
Yep.
And Pam, what do you have going on the rest of the week on your 2 different channels now?
Yeah. Let's see. On Wednesday, I'll be at the parks because I stream on my theme park channel every Wednesday and Saturday. And I think we're going to Epcot on Wednesday because another festival is starting up again. There's always a festival. It's Flower and Garden Festival, which is my favorite festival at Disney. So I'm excited about that. And then on Thursday, I'll be streaming on my gaming channel, and I play some relaxing games over on my channel. But I've been having a lot of fun, and this one gets to hang out with me on Thursdays too. So it's been a lot of fun. And then Saturday, I'll be somewhere at the theme park again. So, but yeah.
So then that's just the one cat that disturbs everything? Does the other one just kind of lay down and chill and leave you alone?
Yeah, she doesn't care at all about this like whole setup.
Whatever.
Anything.
I'm good.
And yeah, that's Daisy, and then Happy's the one that wants to be on YouTube. So
is she nudging your camera? I think I just saw your camera move a little bit.
She is. Yeah, I'm just gonna let it go. It's okay.
It's all right. And Blair, what do you got going on this week, buddy?
Tomorrow I'm on Diabolical Souls channel. We're doing the last episode of Primal. We're looking forward to that. And then Thursday I will be on Roman's channel for the free range. And then I join Gooch again on Diabolical Souls, where we talk about Kaiju number 8, episode 9. So yes.
But then is Roman actually going to be there on Thursday?
I don't know. He might cancel. So
just have Shield Wall run it again.
Yeah, he might do that. Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's fired. So LadyMarine, if you want a regular Monday spot, you're in.
Yeah.
We'll go more music
know?
in the channel. Mixtape Monday comes back.
Music
Mixtape Monday, late to the party, whatever. I kind of went with the late to the party because whatever articles I come up with, because the YouTube channels where people like that is their full-time job. It's like that's the way they make their income. So like the second a story breaks, they can make a short video and edit it and post it. They can do a live stream. Me, it's like I have busy weekends. I work Monday through Friday. So like by the time I get to the story, I'm always going to be late. So it's like whatever. And then I'm not just stuck to Monday if I end up doing something on Tuesday and then I'm extra late, But whatever works. It's just we're just here having fun, complaining about this and that and the other, whatever. But yeah, thank you guys all so much for hanging out with me, all of you on the panel, everyone in the chat. I will be back. So yeah, I got some stuff going on this week. I'll be back on Wednesday with my regular after work beers stream on Wednesday, 3:00 Pacific Standard Time. And I think I have a gig this weekend. Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll be playing at one of my favorite local breweries where I usually just put the camera up and stream that for whatever 2 to 3 hours, have that going. So that's what I got going on this week. But again, thank you everybody all for hanging out. Thank you to my panel for coming on and complaining with me. And we didn't really have that much debate or argument, so I guess it was kind of good. Yeah. But I don't know. Anyways, everybody enjoy the rest of your Monday and the rest of your week, and I will see you on Wednesday. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Be excellent to each other.
This has been Late to the Party News. Make sure to like and share this video for others to see. Subscribe to the channel and set notifications to all so you get notified every time we go live or post a new video. Thanks and good night.